أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد الفاتح الخاتم وعلى آله حق قدر الدار العظيم. السلام عليكم. Good afternoon, everyone. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, all praises are due to the Almighty Allah, the Lord of the universe, the most beneficent, the most merciful, the sovereign of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and from you alone we implore help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you have favored, neither of those who have incurred your wrath, nor of those who have gone astray. O Allah, maintain your praise persistently upon our chief and master Muhammad, the key to that which is closed, the seal to that which is passed, the upholder of the truth by means of truth, the proper guide to your straight path, and upon his family according to his eminence and his great honor. Assalamu alaikum. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. I am back on my series of lectures on the topic, the Divine Mandate series. If you can remember, in the last session, we were discussing the mandate conferred on Prophet Abraham and his nephew, Prophet Lot. How angels paid them a visit, that is Abraham and Lot respectively, starting with Prophet Abraham, where they gave him a glad tidings of having a second child, that is Prophet Isaac, peace be upon them all. And before they left the house, the mother of Isaac was there, that was Sarah, and she was there having heard that the unbelievers of Lot were to be destroyed, and in fact her nephew will be relieved. And she smiled, she laughed out of joy, and because of that, the angels gave her a glad tidings that she was going to conceive her child, Prophet Isaac. And so did it turn out to be. And they proceeded on their way to Sodom, and they eventually destroyed the unbelievers of Prophet Lot and delivered him along with his people, as Almighty Allah promised. So how do we assess the impact of the divine mandate here? When the Almighty mandated any of his servants to speak in his name and convey his message to his people, then the Almighty Allah will prove him right. He will vindicate him in all his claims, because no prophet had ever been sent to any people without him warning them that if they reject the message, the consequences is going to be very terrible, and they are going to be destroyed utterly. And that is what happened with the people of Prophet Noah, as we read earlier. And the same thing was true of the case with the people of Prophet Hud, Prophet Saleh, and of course Prophet Abraham himself with Nimrod. How Nimrod of the great land of Babylon was destroyed along with his people, although Abraham departed the land of Babylon before the destruction of the city, along with his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot, on their way to the blessed land of Syria. And eventually Lot was appointed a prophet, meaning that he too was given a mandate to speak in the name of Allah and convey his message to his people. And he did. And as usual, the people rejected the message, most of them, with the exception of only one household. The Almighty Allah said in the chapter Surah Al-Zariyat, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Qala fama khatbukum ayyuhal mursalun, qalu inna ursilna ila qawmin mujrimin linursila alayhim hijaratan min tin musawwamatan inda rabbika lil muslimin fa akhrajna man kana fiha min al mu'minin fama wajadna fiha غير بيت من المسلمين بمعنى بيت واحد. That we delivered the believers that were resident in that town before destroying it. and we found only one household that happened to be a believing household, and no more. Only one household. فما وجدنا فيها غير بيت من المسلمين, and they were all believers. وتركنا فيها آية للذين يخافون العذاب الأليم, and we left behind veritable signs for those who will come up thereafter, for them to ponder and see what was the consequences of disbelieving in the messages conveyed by prophets that were mandated by Allah to speak in His name, so that it will serve as a warning for those who will come in the later generations. And this, it is very interesting for us to review how Abraham himself exercised his mandate. Of course, we did in the past, and how he engaged the people of Babylon, how he refuted their claims, and how he reduced them speechless, how they tried to destroy him, how he was equally delivered. And after Prophet Abraham, series of prophets were sent. In fact, all prophets that came after the emergence of Abraham happened to be his descendants. No prophet had ever been sent after Abraham without him being a descendant of Abraham, including our dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why he is nicknamed Abul Anbiya, the father of prophets. From the lineage of Ishmael, there descended our dear and most beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And from the house of Prophet Isaac, there descended all Jewish prophets that came afterwards, ranging from Prophet Jacob, who happened to be the father of all Israelites. In fact, he was the one that was titled Israel. Israel in their language means the servant of Allah. Isra means Abd. Il means Allah. Israel Abdullah. And that was his title. So he fathered all the Jewish prophets, starting from Prophet Joseph and his 11 brothers, down to prophets like Moses and his brother Aaron, who descended from the child of Jacob, that is Lawi, and all other prophets, Prophet Zechariah, his son John, before them Prophet David, his son Prophet Solomon, and all other prophets of Jewish descent. So, at different stages of history, those prophets were dispatched by the Almighty Allah to their nations to convey messages. In fact, Prophet Jethro, though not a Jewish prophet, yet he descended from the home of Abraham. It was narrated that Abraham had another child by name Madian, who was the great-grandfather of Prophet Jethro, Shu'aib alayhi salam. وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا. And from that, because Prophet Ishmael was destined to be the ancestral father of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's why prophets were not appointed in his lineage. There was no prominence of prophethood in his lineage at that early stage. Somebody who was who had the privilege of being the great-great-grandfather of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he did know many prophets in his lineage. Suffice it to say that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the whole Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, descended from his lineage. That alone is enough a pride. But for Prophet Isaac or Isaac, they said he gave birth to two children, Esau and Yaqub, who happened to be twin brothers. And the two of them, Esau and Yaqub, and then after he departed from the world, before he departed, in fact, he was more inclined towards the eldest son, who happened to be Esau. And the mother was more inclined to the second son, that is Jacob or Jacob. And before his demise, he called his eldest son and told him that, use your profession to serve me so that I can pray for you. Because he was a professional, that is, he was a professional hunter. Hunting was his business. While Jacob used to rear domestic animals. So he told him to serve him anything, that is to go and hunt for any meat that he can serve the father, so that the father will bless him before his departure, so that he will bestow him the heritage of the house of Jacob and the house of Abraham. That is the house of Abraham, I mean. Jacob, Esau will be blessed. So as he went out, the mother, as we were told by some narratives, the mother told the second child, who happened to be Jacob, to go and slaughter to get a very good ram and slaughter and prepare it as a feast for the father. And he did. He brought it. And the father felt, he thought that it was the one he sent. So he blessed him. He prayed for him so that the heritage of prophethood will be in his lineage. That is, this prophetic mandate will keep emerging in his lineage. When Esau came back, he asked him, didn't you come earlier? He said, no, I was not the one. That means that my brother must have come earlier than I. That means he must have come and taken the blessing instead of me. Then I will not spare him. The father was trying to calm him down. That, calm down. I will pray for you too. May the Almighty Allah bless your lineage. May the Almighty Allah bless them with knowledge of natural sciences. May the Almighty Allah bless them with knowledge so that they can explore the nature the way they want. So he was not happy because he knows that that can in no way be compared with prophethood. He can't compare prophethood with anything. So, and as it turned out to be, that chap happened to be the great-grandfather of today's European people, who are blessed with the knowledge of science and technology, who explore the nature the way they want. While Jacob fathered the prophets of Israelites, he became their father. So, because he was the great father of Rome, Rome is a name of the grandson of Esau, or the son of Esau directly. His children established the empire of Rome. And the children of Jacob turned out to be prophets. And we all know what happened. That is when Jacob, peace be upon him, after the demise of his father, he got married to the daughters of his uncle. In those days, according to their course of legislation, one was allowed to marry full blood sisters, according to their laws in those days. Just like during the time of Prophet Adam, one can only marry his full blood sister, because there was no any other household from which you can get married. The only household on the surface of the earth was the household of Adam. So the only alteration that can be made that can give a sense of marriage was when the wife of Adam, Eve, that is when Eve used to give birth to sets of twins. So and each set of twins is made up of a male child and a female child. So the male child of the first set of twins should be married to the female child of the second set of twins, and vice versa. And that's marriage. And later on, this was abolished. This was abrogated in the later injunctions that came in the hands of Prophet Noah. And during the time of Jacob, one was allowed to marry two full-blood sisters, and he did, because it was lawful in those days. And he got married to them. The elderly one, the elderly sister, was the one that gave birth to the 10 children of Jacob. Lawi, Yahuza, Shamuna, and so on and so forth. While the second wife gave birth to Prophet Joseph and his younger brother Benjamin, Yusuf and Benjamin. And Joseph had a dream, as a whole chapter consisted of 111 verses, was revealed to narrate the story of Joseph and his brothers. This story was very fantastic. In fact, the Almighty Allah described the story as the best of all stories in the Holy Quran. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. صدق الله العظيم. Throughout the Holy Quran, this is the only story that was described as the best of all stories. أحسن القصص. Nowhere else in the Holy Book where a story is described as the best of all stories, except the story of Prophet Joseph and his 11 brothers. Why? Because there is a lot to learn. There is a lot of lessons. In fact, diversified knowledge. First and foremost, it is quite natural. There is what we call natural competition between brothers. And the competition might be a healthy one, a healthy competition. For example, if you have many children, one of them might decide to study law. Another might agree to read medicine. Someone else might make up his mind to study engineering or anything. So as they move across their academic surgeon, their academic journey, competitively, Each one trying to excel. That means you have a healthy competition in your house. Because no child wants to be left behind. No child wants to be, a disappointment to his father or to his parents. Each child wants to make his parents proud. This will propel them, right? Mm-hmm. It will instigate them and it will stimulate them to perform better in their race. You get it? Mm-hmm. So this is what we call healthy competition among brothers. Get it? So, and perhaps when things go wrong, the competition might be a very dangerous one, where brothers might make an attempt to terminate the life of their own brother. And that was exactly what happened in the case of Joseph and his brothers. And what was the consequence? And another thing is that it teaches a lot about the divine predestination, the divine preordination of things, how the Almighty Allah preordained things that He wants them to happen in the universe, and how such things will come to pass, and nothing whatsoever can stop them from coming. Whatever is preordained and predestined by the Almighty to happen, no power can stop it from happening. In fact, any effort to stop such things from happening, that effort will only help in moving forward the realization of that dream. And that is exactly what happened. Because honestly, one can say that if not for the schemings of the brothers of Joseph, he wouldn't have become what he became. That he wouldn't have turned out to be the emperor of Egypt. After all, he did not just make out his way. He didn't just set out on a journey from his home to Egypt to go and rule Egypt. No, he was taken by his brothers out of scheme so as to destroy him. If not for them that took him out and threw him in a well, and he was eventually picked by travelers, taken to Egypt and sold there, and then was bought by one of the ministers. In fact, the prime minister of Egypt bought him. And he wouldn't have even gone to Egypt. He would have been with his father, because the father didn't want to lose his presence at all costs. He wants his presence at all costs. So that is that. I'm going to stop here, inshallah. When we come back in the next session, we are going to continue exactly where we stopped. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih lima ughliq wal-Khatim lima sabaq nasir al-haqq bil-haqq wal-hadi ila siratika al-mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadrihi al-azim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Assalamu alaikum.